Administrative support, how to ask for help and what to do when they don't respond. Objective, teachers will be able to implement the strategies outlined in this lesson in order to gain support from their administrative staff. In a perfect world, we teach in a school with the most supportive administrators you could ever imagine. These dream administrators are understanding, caring, and the most helpful bosses on the planet. They are available whenever we need them. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, and sometimes we don't get the supportive administrators we desire. In this lesson, we are first going to explore various ways to ask for assistance from administrators and what to do when administrators don't offer assistance when you need it most. Section 1. Have you done your part? What strategies have you used? First, I want you to consider that administrators have a lot on their plates throughout the school day. They must manage an entire building of staff and students, as well as deal with the demands from the higher-ups in the school system. Administrators do not like for you to continuously send students to the office or write them up, and you haven't used any strategies or taken other steps before putting them out. So before we go into the steps for dealing with unsupportive administrators, let's make sure you have done everything in your power to deal with your students and any classroom management issues that may arise before you bring in an administrator. Number 1, you have a plan in place. First, what is your classroom management plan? Do you have rules, procedures, rewards, and consequences in place? Have you thoroughly taught them to your students? Do you follow them consistently? What other strategies or techniques do you use to manage student behavior? Make sure you have documented everything you have done to alleviate the problem. 2. Have you followed the school or district's policies for managing student behavior if the school has rules in place already? Maybe they have a school-wide management plan. 3. Have you contacted the student's parents via phone call, email, or conference? And finally, number 4, have you talked to your mentor, colleagues, or the school counselors to gather more insight on how to manage the child's behavior? Maybe they have used some techniques that were successful in managing the student's behavior. Administrators want to know you have taken all the necessary steps before you bring the issue to their attention. However, this doesn't mean that they shouldn't do anything to assist a teacher that might be struggling with managing a room full of students or have a few students that are constantly disrupting the class. Administrators are supposed to be the academic and behavioral leaders of the building. Therefore, they should be able to provide guidance and assistance if you are having difficulty managing your students, especially if you have done your very best to manage the situation on your own and nothing has worked. Section 2, formally asking for help. If you have employed all the techniques that were previously listed, then you should formally ask for help from an administrator. Here is a list of reasonable requests that you can ask of your administrator when you are having issues managing your class or a few key students. Maybe set up an appointment with one of the administrators and ask for advice on how to handle the situation. With their many years of experience, they should be able to give you some tips on how to manage student behavior. Ask them to come and formally observe your class to see exactly the issue you are having. They should be able to offer some insight on what to do. You can also ask the administrator if they can come to your class and teach a lesson. They can model some management techniques and you can learn from their example. Possibly ask them to speak to your class in order to provide more backup. Sometimes this technique works when students see that the principal and the teacher are on the same page and that the principal completely support the teacher's policies and practices. Sometimes this technique might not work because students may see the teacher as weak and in need of help from the principal. Proceed with caution. Finally, ask if the student can be temporarily removed from class, either sent to in-school suspension or a timeout room, especially if the student has repeatedly broken the rules and disrupted learning. There are incidents that warrant immediate removal from class. For example, if the student is fighting or combative in any way that threatens the safety of you and other students. Also, if you haven't had support from the child's parents, ask if they can intervene on your behalf. This may help bring the parent on board. Section 3, file a complaint. You are entitled to teach in an environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. There are times when administrators refuse to honor any reasonable requests. They may even blame you for your management issues. So, if you have made every effort to communicate your issues with the administration and fail to get a response, then you should consider filing a complaint. On the next few slides, we will look at steps you can take to get the help you need. Please keep in mind that you should only take these steps if you have done all you can do and you haven't received any help from the administrative staff. 1. Know your contract. Knowing your contract and rights is important. You should be aware of what you are entitled to in the classroom environment based on your contract. You should also know what the administration is required to do based on your contract. Your contract is a powerful tool. Read it and use it to your advantage. 2. Contact your building rep. If you teach in an area that has a union, then you may have a building representative that acts as a liaison between the teachers and the administrative staff. If this is the case, talk to the building rep during one of the meetings and voice your grievances. They should talk to the administrators on the behalf of the staff and relay these issues. They should also be able to contact the union if nothing is done. Number 3, set up a meeting with the principal and the union representative. This suggestion is a good way to express your concerns with the principal with a witness present. It's good to have the union representative present so they can witness the exchange and be a mediator during the conversation. This can be a very productive way to get help when you need it. 4. Contact the union. If you know for a fact that you are not being supported or treated fairly, contact the union directly. You can express your concerns and they can tell you the next steps you can take to get some assistance. 5. Contact your administrator's supervisor. Hopefully, the situation won't escalate to this point, but if it does, this is another option. You can formally file a complaint with the principal supervisor and see if this helps the situation. Summary. 1. Make sure you have followed your plan and exhausted everything before you go to step 2. Ask the administrator to step in if no other strategies have worked. If your request for assistance has fallen on deaf ears, file a formal complaint. Know your rights. Be sure to document everything. This means document all you have done to correct the student's behavior, any correspondence with parents, counselors, and administrators. Final thoughts. Do your best. Remember, if you have done your best, don't beat yourself up. Teaching and managing students is a difficult job. Try to remain positive and focus on doing the best job you can do. Finally, remember to remain professional. As long as you take a professional stance and do your job to the letter, nobody can question your integrity or intentions as a teacher.